Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to my channel once again. In this video, I have explained the differences between DAMA, LAMA, absconding, and DOPR. DAMA is discharge against medical advice. LAMA is leave against medical advice or left against medical advice. Absconding patient is a patient leaving the hospital and no one is aware of it, till the patient cannot be traced anywhere. DOPR is discharge on patient request.
DAMA patients. In DAMA, doctor advises further treatment, but the patient forcefully wants to take discharge. In such a case, the doctor should explain the risks involved in taking forced discharge. The patient or family members should be made to sign the informed consent form for DAMA, and they should give a declaration that the risks have been explained to them, and they are aware of the negative consequences of DAMA. The decision of the patient and/or family members to go against the doctor's advice is called informed refusal. This informed refusal is an integral part of the informed consent form. That is why the patient or family members must give a declaration that the risks of leaving against medical advice have been explained to them, and they are fully aware of the negative consequences. DAMA takes place in a planned manner, after discussion with the treating doctor. Because DAMA takes place in a planned manner, that is why the doctor should issue a discharge summary to the patient. The DAMA records of patients should be mandatorily retained by the hospital, as per the applicable legal requirements. On a personal note, I feel that if a patient or family members refuse to sign the DAMA consent form, then the patient should not be given a discharge summary. Such a discharge should be treated as LAMA. This is my view, but let your hospital management decide how such a case should be handled. You should have a well-defined DAMA protocol. This is required to protect your hospital staff and the doctors from any legal complications that may arise, in case something negative happens to the patient after leaving the hospital. Informed consent means the patients and/or family members should not be forced to sign the consent form. The doctor should explain all aspects of forced discharge to the patient and family members in a language they understand. They should be made aware of the risks involved in taking forced discharge. The patient and/or family members should be fully aware of the consequences of forced discharge and should sign the DAMA consent form willingly. The DAMA consent form should contain at least the following: the name of the treating doctor, patient's hospital ID number, reason why the patient was admitted, date and time of admission, what treatment was given to the patient, reason why the patient does not want further treatment, the risks involved in taking discharge against medical advice, the condition of the patient at the time of discharge, the date and time of DAMA, declaration by the patient and/or family members that they are fully aware of the consequences of DAMA. Name and signature of the patient or family members, name and signature of the treating doctor, name and signature of at least one witness. LAMA patients. In LAMA, doctor advises further treatment, but the patient does not want further treatment. In such a case, the doctor should explain the risks involved in leaving the hospital forcefully. In LAMA, usually the patient and family members leave without informing anyone and also do not sign any consent form. They may not even discuss with the doctor about their plans of leaving against medical advice. But the doctor and/or the department staff may be aware of the time at which the patient and family members went out of the department and never came back. Because LAMA is not a planned discharge, therefore discharge summary should not be issued to the patient. Since consent form and discharge summary are not available in a LAMA case, therefore the doctor and the department staff must ensure that the details of the patient's departure are documented and retained as a record. This LAMA note should be put in the patient's file. Details you should capture in the LAMA note: patient's name, age, hospital ID number, department in which the patient was admitted, patient's demographic details, the tentative time at which the patient left the department and never returned, the date of leaving, the condition of the patient at the time of leaving. Mention that the treating doctor had explained the risks of leaving against medical advice, mention that the case has been treated as LAMA, and no discharge summary has been issued. The LAMA records of patients should be mandatorily retained by the hospital as per the applicable legal requirements. In spite of this difference in DAMA and LAMA, in the interpretation of AAC 13D, NABH has specified that the terminology used to refer to such discharges may differ, but the discharge process remains the same, whereby the hospital should hand over the discharge summary and reports to the patient. The patient taking DAMA or LAMA is required to give a declaration. The interpretation of AC 13D has specified that it is necessary to record the declaration of the patient and/or relatives in a proper format. Absconding patients. Absconding is different from LAMA. In LAMA, the patient and/or family members discuss with the doctor the patient's unwillingness to take further treatment, but leave without informing anyone. In an absconding case, a patient just leaves the hospital without informing anyone. The patient does not even discuss anything with the doctor or any other hospital staff before leaving, so no one is aware of the patient's plan to leave. The patient goes out of the hospital without the doctor's or other staff's knowledge. No one in the hospital knows that the patient has left, and no one even knows the time when the patient left. They realize it only when they cannot locate the patient anywhere in the hospital. But, if the doctor or some other hospital staff had noticed the time when the patient had gone out, then it cannot be treated as an absconding case, it should be treated as LAMA case. An absconding case becomes a medico-legal case. Therefore, as soon as you realize that a patient has absconded, you should report to the local police station. Give all the available details of the patient to the police and let them handle the case. As a good practice, you may even call up the residents of the patient and inform the family members that the patient has run away from the hospital. Also, please keep in touch with the family to find out whether the patient has reached home safely or not. Keep the police informed. All absconded cases should be properly documented and retained in the patient's file, as per legal requirements. DOPR patients. In DOPR, a patient asks or requests to leave the hospital. In such a situation, the patient leaves the hospital against medical advice, but with the consent of the treating doctor. It is necessary to get the patient and/or family members to sign the informed consent form for DOPR. This consent form should be similar to the informed consent form for DAMA, because the patient has decided to leave the hospital of his or her free will, at the same time being well aware of the risks involved in leaving the hospital against medical advice. Retain proper records of all DOPR cases as per legal requirements.
Your hospital should retain proper documented details of all the DAMA, LAMA, absconding and DOPR cases, because any of these may become a medico-legal case if anything happens to a patient after leaving the hospital. Proper documentation of all the details will be your evidence to protect yourself if a case goes to the court of law. If you have liked the information that I have shared with you, then please like my video and subscribe to my channel. Once again, thank you very much for watching till the end. Have a great day.